understand your audience. Okay, research and define your target audience. You will have had to do this for your business anyway, but understand their needs, their preferences, their pain points, and it'll guide you in branding efforts to ensure your message resonates with the right people. Defining your brand mission and values. Now, this is really important because even though it sounds like an airy-fairy thing that goes on slides, customers feel it when they interact with your brand. So you need to clearly articulate what your brand stands for, its mission, its core values. This helps in building a brand that customers can connect with on a deeper level. Develop a strong brand story. So off of your unique selling point, you've got to go out there and tell your story in a compelling way. Create a narrative around your brand that conveys this mission and those values that we developed, that showcases the unique selling point in an interesting way.
Good afternoon, evening to everyone who's joined us. My name is Standwa Nongauza and I am from Satrix, and I am so grateful that you have joined us at this workshop today. I don't know
Thank you.
if I can
Thank you so
start.
much, Thandwa. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Thandwa. And thank you so much for agreeing to run today's session for us. I think perhaps before I hand over to you, I just wanted to just speak briefly about, what people can expect from tonight's session. So a bit of background. About our partnership with Satrix. So a lot of you may be joining our sessions for the first time. So these are workshop sessions that we have twice in a month, every second Thursday evening, where we speak about different business related topics, all of which are based on, they're research based on feedback that we would have received from entrepreneurs within our ecosystem about the different things that they struggle with and they want to learn more about to help them grow their businesses even further. Earlier in the year, we launched our partnership rather with Satrix, where it was a partnership that was meant to, kickstart the investment journey of our entrepreneurs in their personal capacity and perhaps have them think about, investment for their own businesses as well. We did have a session with Duma earlier in the year where he took us through, the different products that Cetrix has to offer and, what or which of those products rather that leverage as well in an attempt to kickstart their investment journey. A lot of you had, a lot of inquiries because what we made available on the platform was basically under our treats feature, an ability for you to redeem a 100 Rand voucher to officially kickstart, your investment journey with Satrix on their Satrix Now platform. But we received a lot of inquiries about, how to navigate it. A lot of people were, struggling or were finding it hard to navigate. So we thought it would be beneficial to bring in, someone from Satrix, a representative from Satrix to, take us through, step by step, how does it work from when you register, but I'll leave that up to, Standra, who is, a professional and who can explain it far better than I can. But a bit about Standra. Standra is the brand operations manager at Satrix. He has a wealth of experience in the field. He has worked, in the investments field for quite a while, and he has, a few qualifications to show for it. But I will leave it up to him to give us a bit of background about himself first, and then get into, the crux of today's session. Before I hand over to Standra, I just have a few requests. I'd like to request that we please keep our mics muted while Standra goes through his presentation. If you have a question, please feel free to raise your hand, to type your comment or question in the chat. Myself and the team will be here to facilitate that process. Otherwise, Standra, over to you.
Thank you, Tim. As Tim makes me sound better than I am, and if you looked at that post, it made me look better than I am as well. So thank you for that introduction. I feel special today. So as Tim said, I am the brand operations manager at Satrix. And today, what we're going to just speak about is, how to navigate the platform Satrix now. And so, if you don't mind, I'm going to just immediately jump into it and start sharing my presentation. And I hope you do enjoy it. Just give me 1 second to just make it look decent. All right. So, just to get started, everyone, when it comes to investing on the stock markets, it sounds very intimidating. And by the way, I want this conversation to sort of be a conversation. So if you have questions and comments to make, because I'm not really here to teach you, I'm just here to help you understand. I want you to as well help me understand, not necessarily help me understand, but give me some of your feedback and thoughts and questions as well. You can do that via the comments, or you can raise your hand, as Tim Kulu said. So investing in the stock markets can seem intimidating. It seems like something that is for the elites, and that happens in exotic movies like Wolf of Wall Street, and it happens somewhere far away like the New York Stock Exchange or the JSE, Johannesburg Stock Exchange. Well, it was intimidating up until a certain point, but now the markets have become a lot more democratized, and they're here. Everyone pretty much has access now to invest in the stock markets. So what does that mean? When you are engaging with a service or goods, one way to think about it is that all of these goods and services are linked to specific brands. A lot of us engage with some of the biggest brands in the world, but you never really quite clock it when you're in those moments. Another way to then extend that is that these brands are companies that, these big organizations hire people, buildings, all of that stuff. But people, other organizations, and individuals like you can have shares in these brands. And that's why I've highlighted over there, you change your mindset from looking at the goods you consume to understanding or being aware of the brands that are behind these goods and services. And then you can sort of start thinking of the equity behind them. That's the shares that drive these brands. And when you think of then equity and shares, what Satrix does is that we are sort of a creator of a basket or a trolley full of shares. The technical term for it is, collective investment schemes, but we don't want to go too far into that realm. Rather, I want to just make it a bit more simple. It sounds a bit complicated. A basket full of shares. How do you then determine, what goes into that basket, what makes it up, who then, creates those basket of shares and everything? I just want to take it a step further, and I want you to picture something. When you're shopping, I don't want to name stores specifically, but you're at a store, a supermarket, and you grab your trolley or your basket of goods, and you head down for me, first place I always start is Coca-Cola. I'm sorry to say, but I'm an addict. And then you start grabbing other items. You grab some lotion, Vaseline from Johnson and Johnson. But it's not Vaseline. Petroleum jelly from J&J. You head over to Nestle. You grab some hot chocolate. Procter & Gamble has a range of products that are on the shelves. Your Vicks, Pampers, as a new father, and that sort of thing. And depending on it's December, bonus time, you might grab a gadget or two. I don't know. You throw in an Xbox, you get yourself an iPhone. You get yourself a laptop. And as you head to the till with your very heavy basket of goods, I don't know, the tills that I'm usually frequent, there's a bunch of vouchers there, including a Netflix voucher, which you can purchase at the tills. And let's say you put that into your basket. And now, it's time to, rack up everything. You swipe your Visa or your MasterCard, which is linked to one of the big banks in South Africa. And you swipe that card and you realize how expensive everything is. So what do? I usually get on Twitter, but many of us are still on Facebook for some reason. And you get on there and you complain about how expensive things are. And you even, mention how you can't wait for Amazon to make it into the South African market. Now, you've interacted with many brands in your journey in the store. And now what I want you to understand is the investor doesn't just look at these brands and thinks of, something to consume, but rather, how do I get access to all of these brands? How do I actually become an investor in these brands? And what Satrix then does, and this goes back to the basket of shares that I mentioned, is that we create baskets for investors to invest in that gives them exposure to many shares in one go. And I mentioned these particular brands on purpose because we have a particular product called the Satrix MSCI World, which actually features all of these companies as shares they can invest in and a lot more. This goes into your Teslas, big banks in America, JP Morgan, and that sort of thing. And why that's important is it kind of makes you shift your mindset from being a consumer, which also very needed. Our main aim is not to tell you not to buy what you need. Instead, it's to sort of shift your perspective from being someone who, buys and consumes goods to someone who invests in brands. And so, speaking of this basket, so instead of now picturing a basket of goods that you would have been paying for at the till, imagine a basket of shares that you can invest in one go. And I'd also take questions from people because there are ways out there on the internet and elsewhere where you can invest in shares individually. But what is great for the South African investor is having exposure to a bunch of these companies, especially international ones, in one go, because a lot of us don't have the time to research each and every company that we would like to. So one such product is the Satrix MSCI World. And within that, there are these brands that I had mentioned just beforehand. A lot of us, though, yes, we interact with these international brands, but we love and know local brands. So does that mean that Satrix does not have a way to invest in South African brands? And not at all. In fact, our what do you call this? Our flagship fund is what we call it is the Satrix 40, and it features the 40 biggest or the top shares listed on the JSE. And in the South African context, our economy is supported by a variety of sectors. But I just wanted to draw your attention to ones that are immediately recognizable. Mining in South Africa, huge. The resources sector is almost a sort of bedrock for this economy. And the banking sector, the retail sector, telecoms are other sectors which run the economy. And it's sort of thinking of yourself as someone who is at the mercy of this economy and is a consumer of this economy. The investor's perspective is, how do I gain access and how do I invest in all these companies that drive the economy? And shameless plug again, the Satrix 40 is a fund or product that Satrix offers, which features all of those brands that I had just shown in the previous slide and a lot more, of course. And I want you to take a look at these sort of images. You see a graph and it goes from one point to the next, and you're asking yourself, okay, what's the importance of this? The importance of it is this is the price movement of a particular unit or share in this fund. So if in 2018 you had bought one share of this product in 2018 for about 40 Rand, if you had held that till 2024, just one share of this would have returned about, I was tripping, about 90 odd Rand. That's a little more than doubled the value of just one particular share. In the Satrix case, you're not limited to just buying an entire share, but you can actually buy a fraction of it. So you can, buy a fraction of it for 9 Rand, which is you owning a tenth of this particular share, or you can buy more than one share of it. And obviously, the more shares you purchase, the greater your return is. So with that in mind, and it's a very brief introduction into the products about how they work on Satrix now, I will go into the platform. But one thing I will highlight is that we offer two separate types of products, an ETF and a unit trust. Now, it would be wrong of me to assume that everyone has heard of what an ETF is, what a unit trust is. Together, they are this basket. But then there's a difference between the two. So they work in the same way as the basket that I had described earlier. An ETF, unlike a unit trust, it sort of is tradable on the stock exchange. And what that means is that you can buy and sell your share in this ETF at any point during the day, 5 days a week, excluding public holidays and weekends. And your sort of buying and selling of this ETF is immediate, whereas a unit trust, it does not change on a stock exchange. The units are bought and sold by the fund, which means those transactions happen once a day versus an ETF, which is quick. If you decide to sell, there's someone else on the other side who's willing to buy it off you. And then there's also other more complex comparisons between the two. But I don't want to go down this route. I want to just start back at the platform and sort of explain it in a simpler way about how it works. And I think I saw a hand.
I'm sorry,
yeah.
Stando. Can I just ask, what does ETF stand for? What is the acronym for?
Thank you. An ETF stands for an exchange traded fund. And that just means that it's traded on the exchange. It's a fund that is traded on an exchange, be it the New York Stock Exchange or the JSE, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. And this goes back to, if the fund part of it just means that it's collective equities within this one product. It works in the same way as a unit trust does, but it's far more flexible and liquid, if I can put it that way. But that's the acronym. But I'm going to go and show you the platform and explain it a little more. I just wanted to give you a brief overview of what these things are before we head into the platform. When we get into the platform, it'll become a lot clearer and simpler to understand. Give me 1 second to head to the platform. In the meantime, please do ask me some more questions.
Yes, so if you do have any questions while Tana pulls up the platform, please, I see Pemi's hand. Yeah, so I think maybe Pemi, you can ask your question, but please do write your comments or questions in the chat if maybe you're too shy to ask. But it is a safe space. Pemi,
Yes.
I don't know if you had a question or a comment.
Well, I had a question. Thank you so much, MT. My question was for you, Sandra. If, for example, the basket that you described, for somebody who is not very savvy in terms of trading or the rest, can you buy a basket and forget about it? What is the amount of work or investment that's required for you to maintain like a healthy basket? What kind of effort is required?
So the idea is that you should be buying this basket and forgetting about it because it's a long-term game. What you're not supposed to be doing is, trying to buy and sell it constantly like it's trading. This is not trading. So the point is, it's kind of like property investing where you sort of trust in the market to help your asset appreciate in value. So it's supposed to be something you don't really touch too much. And in terms of what you should be buying and selling, that in terms of how much, that depends on you. Things like your age, your goals, where you want to see yourself in the future, and how much you can sort of afford. There's other factors as well, but it's all very personal. So, for instance, me, I'm a bit on the old side. I'm 32 years old, but my retirement, the way things look right now, I'll be retiring in 40 years. So for me personally, I have enough time on my hands that I would be investing in something that's a little more. Now, I don't want you guys to be scared of this word risky. But what I mean by risky is that um, each day, the value of this product might fluctuate in a way that's kind of scary. But in fact, the end goal is that in the long run, it would appreciate in value. That's where the relationship of risk and return sort of comes in. So when it comes to equities and investing in the stock markets, they're considered a higher risk asset class, as opposed to, let's say, property or investing in or buying a money market. It's such boring stuff to talk about. But um, for instance, property, it appreciates in value a little slower, but it's a bit more steady. And, the appreciation of that asset is kind of like trackable, a little more steady. Versus investing in the stock market, there's a lot more fluctuations within the day, but in the long run, it should return a bit higher than other asset classes. I hope that sort of answers your question. Another way to think about it is if you're an older person, let's say you're nearing retirement and you're about 50, let's say 60 years old, you can still invest in, for instance, Satrix products, which I'll show you now, but you would invest in something ideally. Me, Standwa, I am going to invest in something when I'm 60 that has fewer fluctuations throughout the day, throughout the months and the years, and invest in something that has a closer guarantee to returns than to what I'm expecting in returns. It's just about reducing your risk the older you get, in my opinion. So if you're young, pay me. And you see now I'm getting to that point where it's like I'm offering advice and I shouldn't do that. Me as a youngish person, I have the time to sort of invest in things that are a little more high risk, because ideally they would return a bit higher in the long run.
Got
So yeah, I hope that sort of explains it. I'm trying to do this without actually giving people advice, because our compliance will fire me. They will beat me. It's wrong to say that about corporates, but hey, they beat. So if I may just go back, so let's say now I'm speaking to the MyDo audience. You log into the MyDo platform, right? And you head over to Treats, and all these beautiful companies are here, and you stumble onto Satrix investment. And as T said earlier, is that we're offering people who sign up through MyDo a 100 Rand investment voucher on Satrix now. So you see this, you sort of click on it, and you read up a bit about it. I've already redeemed, but the process is you'll click redeem, it'll prompt you again, and then you click that button. It'll take you to the Satrix homepage, and over there you'll be prompted to sign up. And what that means is you'll fill in your details, your email address, and then it'll prompt you to fill out your personal details. And that spans your name, surname, your ID number. And that ID number is crucial, because if you don't get it right and you continue with the process of signing up.
Tandra, sorry to
Sure.
cut you there. I know this part is very, very important.
Okay.
Jabulani has had his hand for some time.
Sorry.
I just wanna maybe give him a chance to ask his question, and then we will give you our undivided attention for this very important part.
No worries.
Jabulani, please go ahead and ask your question. Jabulani, I'm not sure if you can hear us, but you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Tim, and thank you, Stando, for a good presentation. I just want to ask, because we actually we think maybe it's a lot of money that you have to put in an investment. How much can you start, maybe, if you want to invest, maybe in let me say, maybe you want to as you said, you have your what is it,
Is it me or is Jabulani cut?
I think he has been cut.
Okay.
It might be a network issue. So I think maybe let's hold off on Jabulani's question. I will come back to him, ne? So, Stando, I think you can carry on. There was just a request in the chat that as you go through your presentation, please just maybe expand on, what the abbreviations mean and the acronyms and the like. But yeah, you can go ahead.
100%. Okay, not a problem. I can do that. So to sort of answer Jabulani's question a bit, and I'll get to it as well when I go through the platform, is that the nice thing about this partnership with Maido and Satrix is that we will give you 100 Rand to start your investment journey with us. But now the thing is that we offer it as a kickstart. You can obviously deposit more into that account at your discretion. So we usually highlight that 10 Rand is a minimum that you can invest in, but actually there are no minimums that you can deposit into your account. So yeah, it's bad practice to mention 1 Rand, but technically you actually can deposit 1 Rand into your account and start from there. So to answer Jabulani's question, there's no minimums to it. Fortunately, there's this 100 Rand voucher incentive that we give. So with that, you will see I'm on the Maido platform. Mine is already sort of redeemed, so I can't really, give you guys the juice of it. But and I see Sizeka's hand is up, so let me just go there to that.
Good evening, everyone. Hi, Standwa. I'm hearing you now mentioning Satrix. I just want to understand what is Satrix, because I am on the Easy Equities platform, and I know one of the investment portfolios that under my portfolio has a Satrix in it. I think it's Satrix 40 or something. I don't remember. I haven't been on the platform for like 2 months, which is bad. But can you please help me understand what is Satrix that you are referring to?
Okay, no problem. So Satrix is a fund manager. What we do is sorry, I'm just freezing here a little bit. So who we are is that we offer South Africans, we create investment product that we basically we offer investment products. We create investment products for people to invest in, particularly in exchange traded funds, which are the ETFs and unit trusts. And then there are also other investment product types which are not really, suited to the retail space. But we create investment products for everyone to invest in. Pretty much, we are, I want to say, fund managers actually, and what we do is we create products based on a principle that, you see, now I'm going to get a bit technical. Indexing, no, actually, I'm not going to go down the indexing route, but think of us as an asset manager that you can buy investment products from. So
And then
we create
what I want to
those
understand
portfolios
is
you were talking about, we create those.
And then what is your affiliation with Easy Equities?
Easy Equities, they are our friends. They created this Satrix Now platform for us. So Satrix has been creating funds since 2000. And so in 2015, when Easy Equities was around, we decided to partner with them to create our own solution for everyday investors as well. So what that means is that instead of you having to go to a broker or someone to, invest in our products, you could go directly to Satrix Now, which was powered by Easy Equities, and register an account, and you could invest directly in Satrix products there. So that's our relationship with them.
All right, thank you. That makes sense now.
Okay, no problem. That's why the platforms look similar, because they created one for us as well. So yes, so once you've gone to the Maido page and you've clicked on redeem and followed the steps, you'd be prompted to register an account. You'd fill in all of your details. And like I was saying, there you would need to ensure that your ID number is accurate, that your details are accurate, because we go through a process whereby we verify your details in your account automatically. If those details are incorrect to you, your account would not be FICA verified. And now we mentioned FICA verification because I know you guys would have everyone, or not everyone, most South Africans would have had to go through a process where you have to provide someone with your proof of residence, bank statements, just to sort of prove you are who you say you are. And that's the FICA verification that I'm talking about. The acronym, I'm not going to lie, I've forgotten it right now, but it's similar to RICA, but in the financial space. So you complete your account and you write in your details, and once you've completed your account and you've added in your banking details, your platform, your account should be ready to go. And if the details are correct to you, within 48 hours, you should receive a 100 Rand voucher in your account, directly into your Satrix Now account. It should be automatic. But if you find that 48 hours passes and you still do not receive this voucher, I will give you details for you to email so that we can follow it up and figure out why your account hasn't been verified and why you would not have received that 100 Rand investment voucher. But I do ask that everyone who signs up, please ensure that all your details are accurate to you, especially your ID number and your names, as well as your bank account details. So let's say you've registered your account and okay, everything looks good, and you've received this 100 Rand investment voucher after you've logged into your Satrix Now account. This is how it looks once you've logged in to the page. What happens there is we ask you to create a unique username and a unique password that you would remember, and you get taken to this page. I wanted to, let me just log out and log back in. I'm just slightly ashamed of my username because I created this in 2016 when I was young and pampering. But this is a Method Man lyric, poor man's panache. And that's my account details. And it's as simple as logging into your account. And then boom, you are in. And then there's where you can start to see, everything related to your account. So a lot of people tend to start with the account overview. Now, if you've not invested, you would not see much in this account overview. So let me give you an example about how it would look if you're a new investor without any cash in it. You come in here and see, your current values on zero, profit and loss is zero. That view, but once you get the investment voucher from us, then you should start to look somewhat like this, where you can see your account overview. So the thing about the platform is that the intention here is for you to buy and sell these products that Satrix offers directly on this account. There's no other sort of platform that we would want you to kind of venture off into. This is sort of your home base whereby you can buy and sell ETFs and unit trusts directly from. So typically, as a person, your first thing to do once you've got that investment voucher in your account is you're keen to start investing. And so what you would do then is to either, go to the Invest Now section, or you can do that via the menu drop down here and click Invest Now. But once you do that, you'd be met by our access range. Now, what this just means is that it's a range of products that we think are great for people who are starting out their investment journey with us. These 4 products here are split into 2. You will see here it's written Satrix Top 40 ETF and the Satrix MSCI World ETF. And then this one is the Unit Trust, Satrix Balance Unit Trust, and the Satrix Money Market Unit Trust. You can also view our full range of ETFs by just clicking this button here, and then you'll start to see that actually we've got quite a range to buy from. It goes over 2 pages, and similar to the unit trust side, is that we've got a range of products as well. But I'm going to stick to the 2 that I had mentioned earlier in my presentation, the Satrix 40, which was, about local shares. Using this as an example, I'm going to go to Jabulani's question. So let's say now you've got your 100 Rand in your account. I've got 75, just chilling there. And, you're not sure 100% what to... Sorry, I don't know if there's a questions from Sizak or someone. Okay. I think Zandile is just unmuted her mic. So a lot of us don't know where to start. What out of this full range of products, where do you start to invest in? Me as a Stando, I can't tell you what to invest in, but the information is there under each of these fund pages. So for instance, if you want a brief overview of the Satrix 40, which is our flagship fund, and that's the first one, the second one that I had mentioned at the top of my presentation. And then it just speaks about, aim of the fund is to XYZ, do yada, 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 right? But if you want more detail, I would implore you guys to click here on MDD or fund information, but I'm going to start with MDD. Now, this is a document that highlights what is actually in this fund. Now, I know it looks like another language in everything, but trust yourself to actually just read through this and kind of come here to see what are the shares that are in this particular product. Because then you'll find it's a bit easier to understand once you sort of go through it a little bit. What I like to do is to open up another tab, and as I'm reading, I like to understand what is something that I don't understand. So for instance, here we make reference to the FTSE JSE Top 40 Index, and that first thing I'll do, what is the FTSE JSE Top 40 Index? And then, it sort of gives you a breakdown of it. We have articles on this as well, but just for your sake, as people who are starting out in the investment journey, the internet is just full of information. There are many different sort of sources that you can rely on. You can also rely on the Satrix.co.za portal. But for me, because I like to get objective insights, I just hit Google and I get information about what I'm investing in and what these different terminologies are. So for instance, the first thing I'm seeing here is from Bloomberg, and it says it's a top 40 index, is a capitalization weighted index. Companies included in this index are the 40 largest companies by market capitalization. And what market capitalization means is just that it's in comparison with that specific segment or theme, that those are the biggest ones by those are the biggest ones. And so there's that. And then there's also this button here, which gives you, more information on what the fund is about. And this takes you to the Satrix website as well. And again, it discloses the same information it had back there, but now it breaks down for you why you should choose this particular product. And again, it highlights the different sectors. And the cool part about it for me is that you can look at how much you would expect to receive if you make, let's say, a lump sum or a monthly contribution to it. You select the type of fund, and this one's defaulted to the Satrix 41 because that's what we clicked before. And you want to select the year that you would have invested in. And then it calculates for you how much you should expect back within Duma now, I can't think, but how many years does this calculate? It should be
close to 13 years.
13 years.
Oh, so it's 2021. Sorry, then it's 3 years.
3 years. Okay.
Yeah.
So it works its way backwards. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And so this, for me, guys, is one of the most important pieces of resource you can use on this platform. Don't be scared that it links out of the platform. You can always just jump back in. But a lot of information is covered here. Now, you'd also look at this graph and it looks a bit, intimidating, but this is just a visualization of how the fund has performed in the last month, in the last 3 months, in the last 6 months, in the last year. And maximum just means since either the platform was created in 2016, 15 to date, or when the fund was created. And sometimes you'll see it only starts from 2018. This part just helps investors visualize how important investing is. Not important, but how visualizes the value you could potentially gain if you invest. So what I like to do is to scroll over and look at the maximum period, and I look at the starting price, and I look that it's almost 50 Rand. So one share of this ETF, if I had bought it for 50 Rand, today that value is increased by almost 50%. And so that just helps me make a decision when it comes to what I should put my money in. And then going back to, I think it was Jabulani's question, how much do you need to actually buy these products? So as a test, I'm just going to put here 1 Rand, and then it will automatically calculate for me how many shares that is. 0.0134. Doesn't sound like much, but when you're starting out and you need to get a feel of the platform, this is not a bad way to sort of gauge where your costs are and what kind of value you would get back. Also, just as a test for the product and the platform. So, I mean, as Jabulani had asked, yeah, minimum at least 1 Rand, even less if you want. And
just to jump in this, Tando, I think Jabulani's question also ties in with what Tandi is asking. So she is asking, can you invest as and when you have money? So for example, if you have 100 Rand today, you put it in, then in the next week, if you have 1,000, then you put it in, or do you just put in money whenever you can? And I guess the second part to her question is, once you withdraw the money, is it taxable?
we'll get to that. We can't answer the tax. We can basically answer it, but there's differences between the types of accounts you get. I'll come to that. And I see we're running out of time, so I'll try and go faster. But we will get to the tax question. When it comes to depositing, I'll also come to that just now. So anyway, let me just go back. I'll answer the question just now. So okay, I've put in 1 Rand. I'm happy. There's also an option to donate to a good cause. Right now, we've got the Khaleesi Foundation that you can donate to, sort of like the KFC donate thing. And okay, happiness. I'm going to decide then to click here. If we're doing this exercise early in the day before 4:30, I would have just pressed buy. The thing would show buy here, and it would immediately go through. The transaction would go through. But right now, because markets are closed, they close at 4:30. 20 to 5, and they're open at 9:30 in the morning, business hours. It would immediately go through. But for now, it's just going to sort of hold my cash and wait for the markets to open. Once the markets open, it immediately then processes the transaction, and then I will have the 0.013 shares in my account. But in the meantime, it's just going to chill here as a buy instruction. That's what we call it. I can view all my other buy instructions, but we'll skip that for now. And as you guys will see, my funds were showing 75 Rand before. Now it's showing 74. Happiness, the buying sorted, right? When it comes to selling your share, let's say you're not quite happy. I'm going to go to my account overview and show you something that is making me sort of cry a little bit. And that is an ETF that is based on Chinese companies. So now thinking Mr. Smarty Pants, I was like, as soon as I could, I wanted to invest in Chinese companies because why not? Everyone's heading to China anyway. It's still for me a decent investment because this is a long-term game, but it would scare any person because you'd see that negative 34% and you'd be like, why? Who would ever buy this kind of share? Well, the the whole point of investing is that this is going to gain value in the long run. So I'm still holding on to it, but if I had wanted to sell it, I would just click on the sell button here after going to account overview and selecting view holdings. And then my platform would show me, do I want to sell the full value percentage? I can determine that by percentage or the Rand value that I'd like to sell. And let's say I want to sell just 19 Rand. It will then calculate for me that 64%, and then I would click the sell button. Now, again, same thing. It's going to sell when the market's open immediately because right now they're closed. So the question was also that how do I deposit? Does it have to be, consistently or lump sum? It depends on you. So what you can do is you can deposit as and when you like. So what we do is we give you the different banks that we bank with. We give you the different account numbers, and you can make an EFT deposit. If you click this drop down, it's sorted in alphabetical order. Or I thought it was. It really isn't. My bad. But you can then select the kind of bank that you bank with, so that it happens much quicker, so that your deposit reflects quicker, because bank-to-bank deposits reflect quicker than bank A to bank B. So I am a standard bank banker. It will show me the different account numbers. Here's the key here. You must use your particular SX reference. This number, guys, is very important. If you don't use this reference on the beneficiary side or as the recipient side, the deposit won't reflect. And what you then would have to do is then you'd have to contact us via the help center here. You click this button, and you create a ticket, you log a query, and you send us the details about your bank deposit, including a proof of payment that you'd have to attach to the email. And then we will investigate, find that deposit, allocate it to your account. So I just want to emphasize that this is very important, that you take note of the banking details here. As with many online platforms, you just have to be very conscious of this details. But now, let's say I don't want to deposit, or another way, sorry, to go back. Another way is to deposit via credit card. This comes with an added fee, but it comes with the security that it will go directly to this account. There's no waiting period, and you wouldn't have to then chase up your query if it didn't go into your account, because it would go straight into your account. So it comes with that security and speed, but there's an added fee here there's an added fee. You can also create a recurring investment. Now, this is it is a debit order that goes straight from your bank account, your designated bank account, into the particular investment that you would like to put it in. So I'm going to pick something a little different, an ETF that I used to really love, which is the Satrix Fini. Just to briefly give you an overview, a lot of these names here seem really bougie and complex, but the names give you a hint about what this the theme of this investment is. So, for example, Satrix Top 40, the top 40 South African companies listed on the JSE. The Satrix Indie looks at the industrial sector. Divi looks at high dividend paying shares, and Fini looks at the financial sector. But again, you just come here to this if you're interested in it. If it sounds, like something, I guess, exotic to you, you can come here and read up about it, and it will explain it in simple terms. Like right here, it mentions the JSE Financial 15 Index. That's when you know it's looking at financial companies. So if I wanted to have a monthly debit order go straight from my bank account into this, it's pretty simple. All I do is just come here to recurring, and I fill in the details. How much do I want to put in? Let's say 15 Rand. Do I want to increase it annually? Because inflation is the real thing. You can if you'd like to. And then you can select your different options about whether you'd like to have the amount be inclusive of transaction fees or excluding transaction fees. That just means that if it's inclusive of transaction fees, we're going to just debit 15 Rand from your account. And if you say excluding transaction fees, it would be 15 Rand and a little more just for the transaction fees. And you can opt to deduct from your available funds or from your bank account, and then you can choose how often you would like to debit. And then you choose which date of the month, either the 1st, the 3rd, 15th, or the 25th. And then because I have multiple bank accounts linked to here, I can select which of my bank accounts I want them to debit from. And then all I have to do is accept the terms and conditions and then continue. And then boom, on this specific particular day, it should debit from my account in a regular period. You can also just go via here, the menu, and under my investments, you select recurring, and it's going to take you pretty much to, it's going to take you to this page where you can select, do I want it in a unit trust or an ETF? Once I select that I want to either go via the ETF or unit trust route, it will just take me back to that page which had all the products, all the ETF, the full range of ETFs that we have on the platform. And then I'll just repeat the process. And then I'd repeat the process again, where I click the specific product I want and select recurring, and I'd fill in the details. Long way of saying it's up to you to decide how regularly you would like to invest. It's up to you. When you have 100 Rand, you have 100 Rand, put it in. But I prefer the monthly route. It keeps me disciplined. And it just ensures that a portion of my cash is invested. Yes, so I hope that answers. I don't know, T, if we have any other questions, because I'm thinking of just running through these.
No, I think you can proceed.
Okay.
Sorry, Stan, the tax.
The tax. Oh no, yeah. Okay, let me go to the tax. So we offer automatically a tax-free savings account, right? A tax-free saving account is useful in that, and it's in the name. When you invest in a product via your tax-free savings account, the interest, the capital change, or the profit that you would have earned, and so I mentioned interest and the capital you would have earned, or also the dividends you would get from the different investments, those things aren't taxed, provided you don't exceed the tax-free savings limit. So there's a limit that government has created on this type of account, whereby you're allowed annually 36,000 Rand that you can deposit into this account, and a lifetime limit of 500,000 that you can deposit into this account. Anything earned on this 36,000 is yours and should not be taxed, again, provided you did not exceed the deposit amount. That's on the tax-free savings, and every South African is allowed access to opening a tax-free savings account. Now, when it comes to your normal account, your Satrix Now account, there are tax implications on profits you would have earned. I can't get into that because I'm not a tax specialist, but I would encourage you to do a little research and perhaps speak to a tax specialist to understand what are the tax implications for capital gains, interest earned, and dividends as well. Capital gains, sorry, just to go back, capital gains just means the profit, just a fancy way of saying profit earned, how much your capital has gained or how much your asset has gained since making an investment. That's the tax side of things. Again, I can't go too deep into them because I'd get into so much trouble. The cool part about Satrix Now is that, if you're happy with the platform and everything, and you actually want to encourage people as well, people, your family and your friends, you can do that. You can simply go to the vouchers option here on the top right-hand side. You select buy voucher, redeem voucher, either way it takes you to this page, and you can send someone a voucher. You just click this option, and then we will take you to a page whereby you input the amount that you would like, or select it rather. You can select the amount, and we have specific amounts, so you can't edit it according to what you would like, unfortunately. So you have an option of 50 Rand, 100 Rand, 250, all the way up to 5,000. And so if you decide that you want to send someone a voucher, you can just purchase it now. It works in the same way that Take A Lot works, whereby you select the option, You input your details. Sorry, let me just add to cart here. Sorry about the dead air. And it will ask you to input your credit card information as well, so that it just goes off your card. And you put in your recipient's details, email address, or you can select to download the voucher in case you want to send it your way yourself and make it more personal. So that's pretty much how it goes. I'm not doing this for obvious reasons because I don't want to share that information, at least not yet. So that is sort of the gist of Satrix now. What I would encourage everyone to do is go back to MyDo, go to the treats page, redeem that voucher, continue with that specific link. If you don't use that specific link that MyDo provides you, you won't get the 100 Rand investment voucher. So just make sure to follow it from this page. Fill in your details, ID numbers are accurate to you, and within 48 hours, you should receive that deposit as well as an email confirming that you have received a gift from MyDo. And again, I would encourage everyone to sort of come back to our range of products, click on Invest Now. And I know it's difficult to sort of, where do you even start? But we encourage people to start at the Access range, look at these different funds here, learn just a little bit about them, see if it piques your curiosity. If it's not quite your flavor, there's a lot more to actually look at. And I know a lot of you work in different industries and sectors. See if you can sort of identify those sectors with just the name. I don't know why this page is now taking long to load, but there's also a resource themed product. There's one for Indian companies. There's one for Chinese companies. You will just go through the names, see what sort of piques your interest, learn a little more about it, click the buttons that highlight fund information and MDD. And when you get lost, open a new tab, search what certain terms mean, and I promise you, you will feel a little more enlightened and more confident about investing. T, I don't know if, am I allowed to continue or should we wait for questions?
I think because of time, maybe I'll take one question because usually our hard stop is at 25 to because we don't want to keep everyone beyond that time. So maybe
Okay.
if there's one question that we can take. So any takers? So if you have a question, please raise your hand. Okay, Sizeka, you can go ahead and then we will close.
Okay. I just want to understand what is the difference in terms of your platform, or probably the different portfolios that you guys already have compared to Easy Equities. Because I'm just trying to understand like is it worthwhile to have both platforms, or I'm just trying to understand. Please explain that.
Sure. So Satrix offers a little more focus. I think it's valuable for someone like me, let's say, who's doesn't have too much time to go and research each individuals and invest each stock, each different bundle of products that they offer, and each different ETFs that Satrix and other ETF providers offer. It gives a little more focus. But obviously, if you're that kind of person who really enjoys that side of things, all the different options you have, by any means, I would also encourage you then to use that time to, venture there and explore their offerings. But for me, this offers a little more focus. We do have our funds on that side as well.
All right. I hope that answers the question, Sizeka. I see a thumbs up. I think she's happy. So I've just typed in the chat that if you have any other questions, or maybe you need clarity on anything that Standa went through today, please type it in the chat. We'll consolidate all questions and then we'll share the questions with Standa and the team, and then we will revert with responses in our WhatsApp groups, on our digital platform as well, for those who would have had those questions. Otherwise, to Standra's point, I do implore everyone to go to the MyDo platform, go to Treats, and redeem the voucher and kickstart your investment journey today. I think as Tanda was going through everything, I was also considering what sort of, fund would I want to consider for myself as well. So I do encourage you to start today, and because you never know where it may lead you as well. Nonhlanhla, I see your hand, but we are out of time, unfortunately. So please write your question in the chat, and then I'll just convey the questions to Standra. Standra, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the session, and thank you to Duma and the rest of the team as well. We do appreciate the partnership, and how interesting the journey has been, helping everyone, our entrepreneurs in particular, think about investing their own futures, and for that of their businesses as well. So we really do appreciate that. To everyone that attended tonight, thank you so much for your time and for availing yourselves. The next workshop that we're going to have is in the next 2 weeks, where we will be kickstarting our pricing series. Otherwise, have yourselves an amazing evening. We will see you soon. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tandwa.
Guys, thank you, Sandra.
Thanks, Tandwa.
Everyone, thanks for
Thank you,
joining.
Tandwa. Thank you.